Hey everyone, I'm Sunny.
I'm Rachel.
And I'm Rox. And this is
Literature on the Rocks.
I fucked it up.
That was so good.
It's usually me, too.
I know. I was really like, is she going to remember?
Yes.
Well, how is everyone doing? Anything fun happened this week?
You know what? I don't know. I mean, obviously stuff happened, but I don't know.
I have something that I'm really excited about.
Okay.
Let's hear it.
But it's not related to this podcast at all. And I think only some of our listeners will be excited with me. But this week, and you might not care, Rox, but Rachel, I think you're going to feel my excitement.
Okay, I'm ready.
I have a friend who purchased tickets to go to Club 33 and she invited me to go with her.
Oh!
I'm so excited. Last night I was like, what am I going to wear? It's going to be not for a couple months, but
That's
I
so exciting.
am already looking like I need a Disney bound, obviously.
Yeah.
Who am I going to bound as? I love Belle.
You do. At first, I was a little offended that you were like, you're not going to be excited. And then you said it. I was like, you're right. I'm not going to be excited.
You know, it's because I know you, all right?
You
But
definitely do.
I actually literally fell out of my chair when she asked me. I was like, you're going to have to leave. I need to get up now. I'm so excited about it.
That is really
very
cool.
exciting.
Yeah.
It's cool. For those of you who don't know, these are Disney adult things. Club 30, secret club at Disneyland.
It's a very expensive club to
very
be a part
expensive,
of. So
yes.
that's very exciting.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
so
super cool.
That's the most exciting thing about my life right now. And will be for the next couple months.
I can't wait to hear all about it.
Okay, great.
I didn't do anything exciting this week. I was just alone with the children all week.
Yeah.
Yeah, because my husband was traveling. So
And that's...
it was hard. It is hard. He's not back yet, so it is hard.
I can imagine. And I only have one, but 2 by myself for a week. We
Almost
love
all the
them. We
week.
love our children.
No, love them. It's just hard.
it's
like,
hard.
It's not that I don't appreciate him when he's here, but you
Yeah.
appreciate them more
Sure.
when you're doing it all alone and picking up and going to
Yes.
the sporting things and doing all the drop-offs and
Yeah.
pickups. It's just a lot.
And I don't even have all that. And I feel
dinners.
like it would be a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Dinner every night.
Yeah.
Mickey D's.
Who's
We
like
did Mickey D's last night.
Okay.
But the rest of the week, I did make dinner.
Oh, what'd you make?
Yeah.
Soups. It was
Ooh, yes.
soup-a-thon this week.
Love it. I can eat soup all year round.
No.
Me too.
I cannot. It needs to be cold. My husband, for sure, he can eat soup all year round. He'll eat it for breakfast. He'll eat it for lunch, dinner, all the things.
Yes.
No, it needs to be cold and maybe a lunch, but definitely more dinner.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I don't want it in the morning.
Oh, I can eat a
Oh,
breakfast
yeah.
soup.
Ew.
Like a good
Ma-
pozole.
Or menudo?
Oh my
menudo,
gosh.
That's a breakfast food.
Some albondigas.
Oh,
yeah.
For the record, I love a soup, and all these soups sounds delicious. I just need it at a certain time in my life.
And we want them all day.
All
All
day,
seasons.
every day, hot, cold.
Ugh, hot. Actually, I have been venturing into ramen during warmer weather,
Okay.
so I'm okay with that.
It's a start.
Yeah.
But no other
That's a
kinds of
soup?
soups. Yeah, it's soupy. We lead such exciting lives.
Yeah, we do.
You just talked for a full 15 minutes about our soup needs.
Look, they like soup, you guys.
You know?
Saw this sheet pan soup that somebody made.
What? How do you?
Okay, listen.
Yes.
Listen,
okay.
Linda.
All right.
So you take all the things and you bake it, and then you throw it in your blender with some broth and blend it up, and then it's a creamy soup. Ooh, and maybe put some like cream cheese in it.
Okay, I'm into that.
Yeah, and then
Yeah.
like a creamy butternut
Just like a
squash soup.
vegetable. So, anyways, let's get into books.
So much more mature.
We're really bringing in the entertainment.
Yeah.
This book this week, do we want to get into it?
Yeah.
Okay, let's get
do
into it. It was
Funny Story by Emily Henry.
Hit us with author background.
So Emily Henry is a New York Times bestselling author, which I think all of our authors are New York Times bestsellers.
Yeah, I
but-
think we've been doing some
best.
We have been doing some very trendy kind of books, but I think
Yes.
we all have some not.
Oh, yeah, on our list.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
We have
Yeah.
a nice mix.
She's best known for her books. They're titled Book Lovers, Beach Read, and People We Meet on Vacation.
I did want to read that one.
So these are all in development actually to be adapted into films,
Wow.
which is pretty cool.
That's cool for her.
She is also currently working on a follow-up to Funny Story.
A sequel?
Yes, she's working on it. Interesting,
Now I don't
right?
know how I feel about it.
Right.
She lives and writes in the Midwest. She grew up in Kentucky. She went to high school in Ohio and attended college in Michigan. So she's like all the Midwest areas.
Look at her.
She mentioned that she gets a lot of inspiration for her novels by the locations that she's writing about.
Oh.
So I thought that's pretty cool.
Oh, this one was
Yeah.
set in the Midwest. So.
Yeah.
Mhm. So that's Emily Henry.
Cute.
Emily Henry. Now let's talk about the summary.
Okay, this one was a light, easy read, so the synopsis is a little shorter than normal. So the story is of Daphne and Miles, who find themselves in sort of a unique situation when Daphne's fiancé, Peter, leaves her weeks before the wedding. He leaves her for his just a friend, and this friend, her name is Petra, and she happens to be Miles's girlfriend. So this novel is a story of kind of finding oneself wrapped into a romance.
Yeah, I had to bite my tongue because I wanted to
too.
chirp in because
Just a friend.
Just a
that one always
friend.
kills me.
That was a great little
Yes.
tidbit. Thank you for that.
Of course.
Let's talk about the drink. Okay,
Also, we have our note that going forward, there will be full-on spoilers.
oh yes,
And I don't
yes.
think we have... Maybe some mental health triggers in this one. Maybe,
Yeah, not really many
but
triggers.
not a whole lot.
Actually, that plays right into what our drink is about because it was a pretty light, easy read. It's a beach read, something that's nice and kind of fun and gave us feeling a little bit of the lovey bubblies. Is that a thing? It is now.
It is now.
It is now.
So our drink is, we kept it simple. We are doing Dr. Pepper, grenadine, cherry vodka, topped with a maraschino cherry. Like I said, simple, easy, but it's a meet cute cola. And the grenadine is because it's lovey and sweet. And then the Dr. Pepper is because we love Dr. Pepper, but also the bubblies. So cheers, biatches. Cheers.
Cheers.
Here
Taste
it is.
test. It's all the DP that you could ever want and more.
Is that a thumbs down?
Is this for
the
hooked?
drink?
Not that kind of DP.
Oh, okay.
It's tasty.
Once it's really stirred,
It's good.
it's not bad.
It is simple. It's Dr. Pepper,
Vodka.
cherry flavored and vodka. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Ingredients.
a drink I would make on the beach.
I was just
Right.
gonna say
Hell.
that.
It's easy.
It's a beach
easy.
drink.
Yes.
We got a beach read and a beach drink.
That's right. All right. Should we dive into these, the chumpies, the chumps?
Get up in that
do
chump.
it.
So the novel, it starts off on May 1st, which is titled 108 Days Until I Can Leave. And I thought they're going to get into that. They didn't for a little while, but
Yeah.
but every chapter I was like, did I miss it?
Cliffhanger.
Yeah. Okay, so 108 days until I can leave. Daphne is our main character. She's a children's librarian in Michigan. She recounts her meet cute with her fiance. It's how the book starts, is with her telling her story about how she met Peter. Peter comes from a wealthy, friendly family. She loves their story, but she extra loves the way that Peter says it. She claims that he tells it better, but after reading the book, I doubt it. He's an asshole. So she doesn't like her version of their meeting, but he grew up with his best friend Petra and their families and have been intertwined since their youth. So Petra and Peter are best friends. Daphne comes from a single parent household. Her mom was the strong, independent one that fully took care of her, and including most of the time her dad.
Right. Even though they weren't together, she would
She was-
help him as a courtesy because they share Daphne.
Right. I think she stopped at, they said she stopped at like her 18th birthday or something like that. Her mom was independent. She worked in a bank, I believe, and kept moving up this
Corporate
Brit
ladder.
world. Yeah. And they were constantly moving around because of it. Daphne never had things. She didn't place value on material things. She had very little. She could pack up and go pretty quickly. It wasn't until her whirlwind romance with Peter that led him to purchasing a home, and he purchased it in his name. And then when she moved far away from her family and friends, she felt stable. She called it a home.
Which she'd never had before.
Yes. She had many houses that she lived in, but never a home. And this one was one where she felt she had a home. She was settling down. She was marrying Peter. They had this beautiful little life. She uprooted. Where did she come from? Not from Michigan, where they were originally when they met. I don't remember. So anyways, it wasn't anywhere close. She uprooted her life to go and move into this house with Peter that Peter bought. And she was ready to start a family and make it a home. She felt stable in this house. At Peter's bachelor party, Petra, who's Peter's best friend since forever, Petra and Peter realized that they were in love. And he returns the next morning and breaks up with Daphne.
Which, okay, hold on. Why is Petra going to the bachelor party?
Because they're best friends.
I don't care. This is a man's thing. Why is there a woman going to your bachelor party? Wouldn't you be pissed off about that from the very beginning?
I think I have a different personality than Daphne, and I would have vetted that shit out long before the bachelor party happened.
Okay, but assuming you didn't, right? Don't you think?
If I made peace with them being best friends, I wouldn't have thought twice about her going.
I don't know.
I would
if
have
I was
never made
comfortable
peace
with
with
the
that.
relationship already, then I'm moving on.
I guess you're probably right. Yeah, now that I'm thinking about it. Okay, yeah, if I was like, well, no, they're just friends, it would have been okay. I don't know. It just the whole scenario where there's this woman going to a bachelor party, I think most women probably wouldn't be comfortable with it.
But again, if I thought if I already vetted their friendship and thought this is not anything, I wouldn't have thought twice about it. Now, if it was a coworker and he's like, "Hey, Petra at work is coming
Wants
to my
to come."
bachelor
Yeah,
party,"
yeah.
I'd be like, "Oh, fuck Petra. Her silly ass can stay her ass at work."
But don't you also think a good friend would say, this is your bachelor party? If I was best friends with a man, I don't know if I would say, yeah, let me hop into your bachelor party situation.
If it was
But
your
she's
best
also
friend,
a part
I don't
of
think
the
I would.
wedding, I think.
Is she a groomsman?
well, she might be a
She
best
might
man.
be.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think they say, but I think that they were, like, it was very much so they are best friends.
Yeah, they grew up, quote unquote, like siblings, which makes this an incestual story.
But, but I do think, to your point, and thinking of it like that, I wouldn't expect my husband's sister to go to the bachelor party.
Right.
You're going to the bachelorette party. But also, if you're friends with, do you know what? If Tommy came to me and said, "Hey, I'm having a bachelor party, I want you to go," I'd be like, "Well, all right."
Yeah.
No?
I don't know.
I don't know if my brother would invite me to his bachelor party.
I don't think Tommy would at all, but yes.
Yeah, I don't know if my brothers would. I don't know if I would go. Not
No?
because I don't love them and I don't want to be a part of the things that they're doing. Okay, perfect
Are you
example.
steeped in tradition that you would want to stay with the women?
I would most likely go to the females' bachelorette party, not the males. And if I'm best friends with this person, I should also be very close to their significant other.
Okay, that I agree with.
So then
Yeah,
I would be
Especially
going
if
to
I was a
hers.
woman whose best friend was a male, I would do everything in my power to become best friends with.
But she does say she tries to do that. Like
Yes.
she's super friendly and
Yes.
Who,
So that's what I
Daphne?
mean. I don't think Daphne and Petra is super friendly to everyone and so kind and tries to become her friend. So they just want everyone to like Peter and Petra both want everyone to like them. So I think
Which
it's part
is
of just her
even
personality.
more strange that she didn't invite her to her bachelorette party.
Well, who's to say that she didn't? She might have.
That's what I need to know, Emily.
and I don't think she had a
Please
I don't
add
think
that
she
to the
had a
sequel.
bachelorette party.
She might not have.
She-
I don't know if they talked about it.
Did she? I feel like she did. I feel like they did talk. Well, I don't remember, but I feel like they do mention that maybe she had one towards the beginning. It was like right before his, but I could be
hers-
wrong.
Maybe I don't remember.
Hers was lame.
Hers was further out because
Yeah.
of like, or she didn't have one because she doesn't really have friends. And the one
Should have been Petra.
The one friend that she had, which she started dating one of Peter's friends, so they became like a couple
yes.
friend.
Mhm.
She wasn't going to be able to afford, or she wasn't be able to fly out ahead of time from the wedding, so she would have been the one to have the bachelorette party. But she doesn't really have friends because she moves around so frequently.
Yes.
I also have
Let's get into that friendship in a little bit.
I also have one comment because I noticed this throughout the book and I started highlighting it because I didn't know if it was going to go anywhere, and it didn't. But did you guys notice all the animal references? You are all staring at me like you don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. So I have them all highlighted. There's a bunch. She
Really?
refers to Miles. On page 6, Miles talks about sticking his head out the window, and she says, "Immediately, I picture a chocolate Labrador riding in the car, its mouth open." But she
That's
refers to Miles as a lab several times, and then there was a funny one that
maybe.
I had that made me laugh, but that's later.
Okay.
But there's a bunch of
Interesting.
even homeboy Peter comes back. He looks honestly like he stumbled upon a woman who broke into his house, boiled his pet rabbit, rather than his loving fiance curled up on the couch. Like, she makes a bunch of animal references.
What? No, I didn't catch
I
them
did
all.
not catch that.
Okay, well,
I like it though.
I have them here. We'll get into them.
We'll make sure to point them all out.
Although the visual of Miles sticking his head out of the window looking like a Labrador, it's perfect.
It's perfect.
It is, but there's a lot of animal references.
Okay, so after all this breakup drama, which also the way he does it is kind of douchey.
Oh yeah.
He just,
Super
like,
douche.
walks in like, "Hey."
But not only walks in. He doesn't come home from his bachelor party like he's supposed to. And he stumbles in the morning like, oh, you're still here?
Oh, what are you doing here in our house that we share?
Yeah.
In your
Fancy
home.
meeting you here. By the way,
Get the
I'm in
fuck
love
out.
with Petra.
It wasn't supposed to happen this way.
You're going to have to, yeah, it wasn't supposed to happen this way. And we're weeks away from our wedding, but also Petra and I have decided we're going to give you the comfort of the home for the next week so you can pack up all your stuff and leave.
And they go off on a vacation.
Oh, how
They go
nice
to
of
the
you.
fucking Amalfi Coast. That's not just a regular vacation. Hey, we made out at my bachelor party. Let's go fucking Italy.
Yeah, it's, I instantly hated him.
All the emotions.
Yes.
Instantly. Good job, Emily.
So then we are introduced to Miles, which is Petra's boyfriend at the time. And then obviously they're breaking up. So it's now Petra's ex-boyfriend, while Peter is Daphne's ex-fiance. And she needs a place to go. She's got a week to figure it out while they're in the Amalfi Coast. And he is initially described as a stoner with no direction. That's how Emily describes Miles.
Well, that's how
Oh, that's
Peter.
how Peter has told Daphne
Yes,
what Miles
he's
is.
just a loser who has odd jobs and because he was never good enough for Petra.
Yeah, yeah. So out of desperation, Daphne asked if she can move in with Miles and she becomes his roommate. And I don't think they talk for the first little while. They're both obviously going through some grief and they just, she has that calendar that she writes all of her everything on there. So both are going through some depression and loss, grief. They are invited They are invited. They get an invitation to Petra and Peter's freaking wedding.
Foul.
Dun, dun, dun.
They're like a month together and now they're getting married and the wedding was for, I don't know, they said like it's Memorial Day, which was only months away.
Right, because this is May. This is May
And
when
it's
he
happening in
comes home.
September or something, right?
Yes.
Oh, so Labor Day.
Yeah, it was like right around
Yeah,
Labor Day.
somewhere around there.
They are so self-centered and so want everyone to love them that they thought this will blow over.
Mm-hmm.
We'll be the bigger people, invite them to our wedding. You're not being a bigger person.
You're
You guys
being
are
a dick.
Yes, exactly. Because of this, Miles is like, let's go out. They go out drinking. They get drunkety drunk. When Daphne starts waking up from her liquor-fueled night, Daphne is fighting a hangover right as Peter is calling her. She frantically answers as he calls to let her know how bad he feels for her situation and that she doesn't need to come alone to this wedding.
I hated every interaction that
Peter.
they drafted
Peter,
with
yes.
Peter.
So Peter is calling Daphne and saying, you're invited, but if you, because they RSVP yes to the wedding.
When they're
So-
drunk that night, they
yes.
RSVP yes.
They're all drunk in a stupor, and he's like, Miles is like, let's go. Let's RSVP yes. Because he doesn't know. He's like, that's why he calls. You don't have to come by yourself. And Daphne's, I'm not. I'm going with Miles.
Yep.
He's my boyfriend. And makes up this lie after one drunken night with him. So she makes up that Miles is her boyfriend, which already we know Peter doesn't like because he's never been good enough for Petra, but now I'm with him. How's it feel, dickhole? After the call, she has to tell Miles that she lied and he wants to go along with it. He's actually super excited about it. And then he says, here, and he takes her phone and he takes a picture of them looking all snuggly and cute, even though the moment wasn't snuggly and cute at all. And he's like, here, post it or don't. She's like, why can't you post it? He's like, I don't have social media. So he has no social media. He hasn't been on social media in forever. I don't think ever. So she ends up posting the selfie onto her social media. I don't remember why though, because at first she's like, I can't do that. And then she's like, I'm doing it.
Oh, because he asked, does Peter still follow you on social media?
Oh.
And she was, I don't know. And he was, did you block him? No. And he's like, then he still follows you.
Yeah. And I feel like maybe clueless or just insecure about who she is, especially after all this.
I think her insecurities make her clueless. She doesn't think that anybody would be interested in her. And it was miraculous that this hunk of a Peter douche loved her.
And I think that's kind of the first clue that Miles said, yeah, I'm sure he follows you, right?
Yeah.
It's if you didn't block him, then yeah, he totally follows
He's
you.
still watching your every move.
Yes. Yeah. So at work, Daphne's coworker, Ashley, who is this tough, outspoken, rough around the edges librarian, almost like intimidating. I think Daphne is a little intimidated by her, doesn't talk to her much. But Ashley is frustrated that she doesn't have anyone to go out with. And so Daphne volunteers to go out with her. She volunteers to go to Cherry Hill, which she just learned was the winery that Miles works at.
You
Actually,
have to think about, because of how naive she is and how sort of innocent you feel she is, that this was such a big step for her to put herself out there like that.
yeah, because she has never really lived in a place for very long, she hasn't made friends.
Right.
So yeah, I agree.
And making friends as an adult is tough.
It's hard.
It is
so
hard.
hard.
That's why we're still friends, because it's
That's
just
why
easier.
That's why I only have 2 friends. It's so hard to make friends.
It is really
Which
hard.
this
And where do you go to
also-
find them?
Yes. Obviously at work, that would probably be one place you'd think you would find a friend, right?
Yeah.
So in this whole first Chumpy, there's 2 things that I think about. I think about how hard it is to make a friend in your adulthood and how awful it would be to start dating again after having been with somebody for however long. I don't know how long they were together. I don't think it says, does it?
It was a couple years.
Okay, so not
I
like
think
forever.
even just being single and in the dating game in general, not even ever being in a long-term relationship. As an adult, it's really stinking hard.
Yeah, where do you find somebody to date?
Yes.
How do you even navigate that? Especially today, in today's world, you've got dating apps and all the things and all the people who just want to sleep with you.
Mm-hmm.
Ugh, I just can't.
Daphne's coworker, Ashley, so she invites her to go to Cherry Hill. Ashley says she's been to the winery twice. Then there's a drug dealer bartender. She makes a comment. Which winery are we going to? The one with the drug dealer bartender or the one with something else? It was the drug dealer bartender, and she was talking about Miles. As they enter, Ashley points out Miles as the drug dealer, and then he walks over and introduces himself as her boyfriend. It was so funny. I liked it.
I have notes. Oh, this is just one of the ones that I laughed out loud. This is in chapter 5. And she's telling Miles, okay, Peter called me. They saw we RSVP'd. She's like, he called me and tried to talk me out of going. He was that smug little prick. He's 6'4". He's like smug giant prick.
I do think a lot of their banter is really funny in the book.
Yes.
It's
Yes. Okay, hold on. I have one note.
I have some that I'm just laughing.
Yes. Okay, so in one part, sorry, real quick.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, Daphne's talking about Ashley. She says, without even looking up from her computer, Ashley replied, "That's inappropriate. And if you speak to me like that again, we'll have to ban you. Would it be helpful if I printed you some literature about sexual harassment?" And I thought it was so hilarious as your HR person. I was like, man, I wish more people were that aggressive.
I like it. Ashley's son's name is Mulder.
Oh, yes, from
yeah.
X-Files.
And yes, and Daphne's response to that is yes, and every time I remember this, I inch closer to death. It's so funny. They are pretty. There's some fun little one-liners in this book.
Yes.
A lot of them.
Mm-hmm.
We're on to Chumpy too.
Yes, chapters 7 through 12. Daphne and Ashley are at the wine bar, or the winery. They don't know what to order, so Miles orders Daphne and Ashley a wine flight. And while he's gone, Ashley's like, what does he mean, boyfriend? Explain.
Mm-hmm.
And so Daphne explains that they have a fake relationship, and Ashley reveals a couple secrets about her life, and they slowly start to become friends because Daphne's, I don't know if I want to tell you what's going on. We work together. We're not friends. So she gives her a couple tidbits, and then they talk. Then there's a bartender, Katya. I feel like she's Russian. That's how I was
Oh,
saying
yeah,
her name
maybe.
when I was reading the book.
I felt it.
Katya is friends with Petra. And she overhears Miles referring to Daphne as his girlfriend. And being the nosy little bitch that she is, she goes and messages Petra. And while they're together at the winery, Ashley takes photos and she's like making a big deal. And she's like, oh, let me get candid photos of the cute couple. Meanwhile, there's some dude named Greg who's behind them drinking. And Ashley and Craig start like making out in the back of the winery.
Ashley sounds like a fun time.
Yeah, she does.
She's newly divorced, ready to rock, man.
So
it.
she leaves with Craig.
Of course she does.
Yeah.
She's probably not wearing any panties.
All
She's
out,
a
though.
modest unpanty wearer.
Oh.
She's non-panty wearer.
An unpanty wearer?
Non-panty wearer.
She's a modest unpantier. So Miles agrees to drive Daphne home because conveniently they live together. And Daphne marvels over how easily Miles manages awkward situations with people. She refers to that a lot throughout the book because he's just super mellow. Someone was acting belligerent and drunk and he just talks him down.
Yes.
And he makes friends with people.
He's
and
just charming.
yeah, and she's just in awe of that because she thinks she's awkward and she doesn't like having small talk with people and she doesn't know how to do that.
Yes.
As they're driving back, Miles suggests they stop at a beach. And she's like, well, they're all fucking closed. They're like, all the public beaches are closed. He's like, oh, what beaches do you go to? She's like the one from across the street from the library. And he's like, oh, that's only for fudgies.
Yes.
Fudgies.
You're like, what's a fudgie?
Exactly.
What the fudge is a fudgie?
So fudgies are tourists. And he's like, Peter's family's a group of fudgies. Because they moved to their favorite vacation spot. So Miles takes Daphne to...
Yeah, but isn't he also technically a fudgie?
Yes, but he's been there
Miles.
long enough. I think that he's more of a, what do you call a person who
I think
lives there a
he's
long time?
fully
But he-
engulfed in the culture.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Before they go to the beach, they stop at restaurant and Miles buys them milkshakes and jalapeno fries. Then they go to the beach to have their shakes and fries and they cuddle up on the beach. And she finally reveals what the countdown is for in all the freaking chapters. It's a countdown for the readathon she's doing, which I thought was cool.
Yes. So she does a lot of work with the kids in the library. She's the kids librarian, but she's doing like story times. I used to do that when I worked at a shopping center in my hometown. Well, it was like a kids club, and we would have a story time once a week, and we would have kids craft. And so I would have to put together this craft for the kids, and then schedule someone to come and read a book. And it was really fun. The kids loved it. And so reading it was bringing me back. I was like, oh. And so I started looking up local book story times.
Oh, it's all coming together.
Yeah.
That's
We
where I
talked about
found
that
yes,
not that long ago.
Yes, that's where I found your local Barnes and Noble does have story time.
She's planning a big readathon.
Yes.
To get money for the library, which is new to the library that she's working at because it's in a touristy town. They don't have issues with money or anything like that, but she wants to do more.
Yeah.
I also wondered what it took to be a librarian because
Yeah. Yes.
I don't know any person who went to
Wants to
school
be a
to be a librarian.
But you do. It's quite extensive.
Yes, I just looked it up because I was curious. And so, according to Google, to be a librarian, you need to earn a master's degree in library science.
Yes.
There's
That's
a
a thing.
science to
Yes.
libraries?
Yes.
Someone was telling me about it. I can't remember, but yes, it blew me away that you got to really know that Dewey Decimal System. I mean,
They don't even do the Dewey anymore.
I mean, I can't imagine I've never done it.
Yeah, I mean, you got to know about all the titles and the genres and...
Well, even some of the stuff that she's doing sounds the basic parts of it, like story time, but she is finding these books specifically for these kids and
Yes.
doing research and buying for them. And
She's curating the library for the patrons.
yes, and I love that.
I just thought that about the librarian. So,
Thank
anyway,
you.
Continue.
After she tells Miles about the readathon, she's, I'm just staying until I finish this and then I'm out this bitch. I'm going to go find somewhere else to live. And he tries to discourage her from leaving town. You just got here. You don't know any of the cool things about this town, like what makes it special. He broke up your life. Why are you allowing him to run you out of this town?
Yeah.
Which is a fair point.
It is.
It's a fair point, but I think I would also feel how Daphne was. This isn't my home.
Right. He took my home.
Yeah.
The home that she got excited for and started buying furniture for. The only place where she wanted to set roots. And he was, you have a week to get out while I go fuck this bitch in the fucking Amalfi Coast.
Petra.
Fucking Petra. At that point, he tells her, I'm going to be your tour guide on Sundays. We're going to do fun stuff and I'm going to take you around so you can fall in love
Which
with...
is so cute.
It is
Super
very cute. And then he shows up at her story hour at the library and he's super supportive of her reading because she catches herself. She's midway through the book and she's doing different voices. And then she sees him, her inner monologues. Fuck, I got to keep going with these goddamn voices.
Yes.
But he was clapping all out at the
Yes.
end and people were
That's
like,
cute.
who is
'Cause
this
everyone's like,
creepy
"Great,
single
thanks."
man
Yeah.
who came with no children?
He's like
Actually-
whooping in the back, and everyone's like, "Oh, good, that was a good book," and packing up, and he's like, "Yeah, woo, 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 woo."
Actually, if you think about it, it's not the best look for him to be at this library with all these kids.
Yeah, the moms, I would have been, come here, children.
Hold my
Stay-
hand.
Stay away from the pedal in the back.
Yeah, it's
the
not
drug
best.
dealer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
However, I do start to like him right here. I just
Me
think
too.
that
I do.
he's really taken an interest in her, and I think it's super sweet.
Yeah, I
Yes,
thought they were cute
I agree.
friends. So afterwards, Miles takes Daphne to a local farmer's market for their Sunday adventure. He takes her to an artichoke farm and then a lavender
I
farm.
want to go to this place.
Me too.
All the things that they're doing, I'm like, this is so cool.
Do we know where this is? where
Michigan.
they are? Somewhere in Michigan? Did
It's
they
in
say
Michigan.
where?
Yes, but I don't remember the name.
I don't
of the
remember
city.
what city. We should look it up.
It's
Is
in
it
the
real?
book.
I don't know if it's a real city.
I don't know. We should, yeah.
Something.
We
it's
should
by
also
the
go
lake.
to the city.
They go to the artichoke farm. Daphne's
Artichoke or asparagus?
Oh,
I think it's
You're right.
asparagus.
It's asparagus. My bad. So they go to
My bad.
they go to the asparagus farm, and she's, how do you know these people? And they're doting on him,
Oh,
and it's like
yeah.
a older lesbian couple, I think.
Yes.
Oh, I sourced from them for the winery.
And they're picking out like specific asparagus for him and
Yes.
like,
Yeah.
special
She's like, oh, it's your first time here. Let me pick one for you. Then they go to the lavender farm, and she's smelling all the things and thinking it's all cute. Miles tells Daphne that he's only ever had 2 girlfriends, Petra and another person named Danny. And she's a little, oh, I would have thought you've been like,
You will play
Womanized.
Yeah.
would have had several of them. And then they're leaving the lavender farm, and I recognize that BMW. How could I forget it? And it's Peter, of course, goes up to them, even though they're, let's just get in the truck and go. He walks up to them and he's, oh, can I speak to you alone? He tries to talk shit about Miles again while they're there together. Daphne just gets super mad, puts Peter in his place, tells him to stop talking shit. She huffs back to the truck, and she's, okay, Miles, we got to kiss in front of him.
Yeah, but also one of the things she points out is because he's never taken her to these cool local places. That's why Miles is offering to. And then she's at one of these cool local places and realizing he never took her here.
And he shows
And then
up
he
there.
shows
And
up.
he shows
yeah.
up.
You've known about this place all along, and
It's-
you've never brought me.
Yes. Almost like you didn't want me to feel like this was my home. Where Miles has known me for a week and I'm already here. Like,
And he wants me to feel at home here.
yeah, it was, yes. So
Oh, I do have a note about this part. She's yelling at him, and she's like, it's just nice to be reminded that your ex really was as big of an asshat as you remember him being.
Ass hat.
yes.
And then she storms off and is, can I kiss you? And then they have a pretty hot kiss. And my note says sexual healing with a music note.
Mine just says, yeah, yes. That's actually what it says.
Yeah.
Yes, queen.
And they both get hot about it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Then they drive home. Okay, let's get in the car and go. They're intermittently pretending like this is just for show, but they're both, she feels him getting hard up against her while they're making out of it.
Feelings are starting.
My nipples
to
are
be there.
tightening against his chest and heat is sinking lower in my stomach until it drops between my thighs. That's when I was like, yes.
That's where I have sexual healing.
A little wise. Oh, my hands move down to his ass and he licks the skin beneath my ear. Welcome to the room, smut. I've been waiting for you.
Is that what you said?
Talking to Miles, and she's, let me tell you what the dickhead said about you. And he's, you don't have to tell me. You don't owe me anything. Well, he's said that your parents don't talk to you. And that's when he's, oh, it's just me and my sister, and that's all it is. Like, he doesn't go into detail. And she's like, oh, I guess.
Which, like, what a jerk Peter is.
Yeah.
What does it have to do with who he is as a person? I mean, maybe a little, but not. You don't want to be with him. His parents don't even talk to him.
Yeah, but I mean,
Like,
because he
you're
murdered
just-
the dog. Like,
Yeah.
if it was something like serious, but
Yes.
it's just because their family is not functioning.
Yeah,
And why air out somebody's dirty laundry?
exactly.
he's a dickhead.
He's a dickhead. That's what I mean. Yeah, totally. Totes.
All right, the next 2 outings. So the next week they go on to like dune buggies in the sandhills, which she was terrified of. And then the following Saturday they go to another farmer's market and they get ingredients to make pizzas at home, which was cute.
Mm-hmm.
And while they're eating, they talk about what
And like good pizzas at home. Like
right.
all homegrown ingredients that he picked up. And yeah. Good.
And he's friends with all of these farmers
yes.
from his day job at the winery. They talk about what they want to do as single people, like things that their partners never wanted to do. What sorts of things do you want to do without them? What was Peter never going to do that you really wanted to, so you just did without?
Yeah.
He wants to go sunrise kayaking on the lake. And she's, okay, let's do it.
Yes.
Which sounds
Which
like a
I
blast
think-
to me.
yeah.
It
I
does
would
sound like a blast.
totally do that.
I wouldn't be trying to race around no island like they kind of do, but to go and just,
Do sunrise kayaking?
Yeah.
I have kayaks. I have paddle boards.
I have a kayak.
I have a paddleboard. Let's do it.
We could do it. I have 2.
All right.
We could all paddleboard or we could kayak.
Kayak.
Then they decide, let's watch an action movie. We never did that with our previous significant others because they thought they were dumb. It leads to them watching an action movie together every night for a few nights. So they both realize that they've been thinking about their kiss for a few weeks now. She's been thinking about it all the time. It's in her inner monologue. And then he kind of brings it up. And then they start acting on it. They start kissing and rolling around on the couch.
This is when I said welcome, smut.
Both. Yeah. Oh, yeah, because he's like popping her titty out.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
They both knowing that if they make it off the couch, they will sleep together. And that's something they're both not ready for. So they're still making out on the couch. They're being hot and heavy. And then his phone starts ringing and it rings. He's like, I'm sorry. And then it starts going off again. He's, let me just check it. And it's his sister. And he's, oh my God, I don't know why she's calling. Let me get this call.
Multiple times when I'm.
Yeah.
Fair.
And something's wrong. Like my little sister needs me.
Yes, if my siblings called me multiple times,
Right.
eventually I'd be like, okay, what? What is going on?
And real quick before we go to the next chumpy, it's an animal note. She goes and takes a shower
It made
after
me
the
laugh.
farmer's market. Yes. And she's coming out and her hair is wetting her satiny PJs and they're kind of getting a little sheer. And she's like, my nipples chose that instant to stand at attention like eager little meerkats.
Such a good description,
I
though.
know. It's a great
I
one.
did. I pictured a little meerkat on the little hills.
And her
It
top
was-
is damp. So she's like, really? Hi.
Yes.
We ended the last one, Miles. His phone is ringing as they're getting all hot and heavy on the couch. He finally answers it. It's his sister. Miles answers his sister's call to find that she has flown in and is waiting at the airport for Miles to pick her up. He's really caught off guard by it. Just
Yeah. Like
because
obviously
it was-
something's going on.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Miles-
he's concerned.
Yeah, I would be too, really. So Miles apologizes to Daphne. He tells Daphne that if at any time she's done with his sister visiting, that she can just tell him and he will kick her out, pretty
Yeah.
much. Which I don't know if he would really do that.
Yeah.
But he's not pushing for her to be there, but he's trying to give her the bigger picture. She doesn't normally do this.
Yeah.
It's something's wrong. I
Yeah.
need
Yes.
to find out what's wrong.
They also broached the subject of becoming more than friends during this conversation. Miles takes the cautionary approach and doesn't want to ruin their living situation or their friendship. Internally, Daphne wants to be reckless and be with Miles or have fun
Me
with
too.
him.
I want them to be reckless and be together.
Right.
At this point, I think I'm thinking to myself, just do it already.
Yes.
Get it over with.
Yes.
Just so that the tension can be broken and we can just ride into the sunset on
Yeah.
the rest of this book.
Yeah, because I'm tense.
I can feel it in my shoulders. They agree that they want to stay only friends at this point. Before Miles returns with his sister, Julia, Daphne turns on her hostess reflexes. She tidies up, she buys some snacks, extra toothbrushes. Oh, yeah, she runs to the store and
Yeah.
she's kind of like picking up all these extra things. And when Julia arrives, she's in full little sister mode, just reckless, ready to play around. She's throwing her stuff all over the place, like made herself at home right
Yeah.
away.
Yeah.
I think she's even kind of poking fun at Daphne and right?
Yes.
Oh.
I
Or
think
she's
so.
talking shit about his beard.
Oh yeah.
And she's bringing Daphne into it because they have like a little conversation. He's like, she's going to hate my beard. You have to
Yes.
stay
Can you
with
be
me
okay
and tell
with
me.
it?
Tell her you love it.
Yeah.
And I think even Julia calls her out on it.
She's like, you're lying.
Yeah. You guys talked about this before I got here. Then the next day, Julia and Miles both go to Daphne's
Wait.
story hour.
I have more animal descriptions.
Oh,
Oh my
okay.
gosh.
So when she comes in and she's chucking her shit everywhere, she says again, if he's a Labrador, so Miles, she's more of a clumsy pit bull, thwacking into corners and swinging her head into the coffee tables without batting an eye. Like,
It's true. I feel like that was a good description too.
goddamn animals.
Except I wouldn't say she's a pit bull because I think of a pit bull as like
Aggressive?
Not that they're all aggressive, but I just think of them as being more assertive dogs, right? So I would expect her to be more like a Pomeranian.
Yeah, they're too dainty.
I agree with I mean, I had two of them.
Yeah.
So
I think they're lovely dogs.
I think living with them and having them as pets, I could see that.
Are they bulls in china shops?
Yes.
They just wag their little tails and they'll
You
like
remember-
make it
you
bleed
you all got
sometimes.
hit with Enzo's tail. He
Oh,
had
yeah.
a mean fucking tail.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like he was just so happy and it was like a whip.
Yep. Yep.
I got hit in the eye with that thing. Like it hurt.
All right, I guess you're right. Great animal descriptions. though.
I like them.
I think they're awesome. I didn't even pick up on.
I thought they were leading to somewhere. Apparently it was for the pod. Thanks, Emily.
The next day, they go to Daphne's story hour, and Miles arrives with a freshly shaven face, and Daphne's struck by how handsome he is. I think she really notices at that point how
Yeah.
attracted she is to him. It's so cute that now he brings his sister to story hour.
Yeah.
These two grown-ups just sitting in
Just
story
supporting
hour.
her and
And they don't even know her, really.
which actually I think we didn't really talk about it because we do for sure already know that Daphne has a friend that is her best friend that is dating Peter's best friend. And when they broke up, Daphne's friend chose to stick
on
around
Peter's side.
and be friends with Peter. And that made me more upset because that's not,
Because it was.
you guys better keep me in the divorce. I'm not getting divorced, but
I would keep you.
I mean,
how dare
Yeah, I wrote no friends. I'm so sad for her. I don't know how.
it made me more upset than the Peter and Daphne breakup.
Because I think we've
like
all
friend
like,
breakup.
Friend breakup, but all because you chose a guy. I mean, I don't think she was saying I'm choosing him, but because she was
they
still
do
in a couple.
Go back to it later in the book.
Yeah.
but still.
Yeah, that's shitty. I feel like this, even though I'm rooting for them to be a couple, he's really being a supportive friend, even by bringing his sister to something that she does great, and I want to show her off. And
Yeah.
it's so
He almost
sweet.
treats her like a girlfriend,
Yes.
but they've agreed to not be.
Yeah.
But he's doing all the things you would do.
You're doing
Yes.
what you would do with someone who
You care about.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I think it's really sweet. So they go to the story hour, and then Daphne and Miles wake up before sunrise to kayak. They are forbidden to talk about their exes that entire trip. They talk about, we're not going to do this the whole time.
Oh yeah, that was cute.
And they both end up playfully in the lake because of it. So I think they're kayaking, and Daphne says something like, Peter used to do whatever, and he's like, oh, you just said it. I think she
But
even
she
pauses.
started it.
Yes.
She started because he said something about Petra and she splashed him with the water.
Yes.
And she was like, nope, that was your punishment for bringing up them.
Yeah, you go in the lake if you bring them up again.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then she says
did.
something, and he knocks her over.
Yes. Legit. So, legitimately pushes her into the lake.
Yeah,
and
and-
she uses all of her body weight to push him into the lake.
Yes.
Tip him over.
But before that part is very cute. Before they leave, though, she is riddled with anxiety the whole book. But before they leave, she gets up and she's waiting in the living room quietly for him to show up. He's not opening the door, and she's like counting down.
He
like
was late.
Yes, he's late. But he shows up with coffee, which was cute.
Yeah.
But she does say,
Doesn't he end up bringing her like chai tea or
She
something?
can't stand
Not
how
yet.
late he is. Oh.
yeah, she's bothered, but she's remembering when her dad used to make her wait on the curb and never show up. And she's like, I realized the feeling wouldn't stop until the waiting did. You can't force a person to show up, but you can learn a lesson when people don't.
Yeah, that's rough.
And
I'm
then
sure we've all been let down by somebody. At
and
some
it kind of
point.
leads to like
Yeah.
her love of libraries is connected to her dad.
Yes.
So when he did show up, he would take her there, and she did remember, and he would flirt with the librarians, and
She talks a lot about her like disconnected relationship with her dad. And she mentions some of this too, how she's not connecting to other people because of that disconnect with her dad and what it taught her. Miles says something one time that I made a note that's incredibly wise. He says, if you don't give other people responsibility for your feelings, you can't have a decent relationship with most of them. And I just thought it's very wise. And
I think that definitely growing up, you learn, or at least I've learned, that if you lower your expectations of people, then you can never really be disappointed,
Yeah.
right? So if you don't have all these expectations, and I think that's where disappointment comes from, is you expect somebody to do
Yeah.
something or to be a certain way that maybe they're not going to be or can't be or aren't, and then you become disappointed about it. Maybe that's just the way that I've kind of,
no, I
it's
think
a coping thing, I think, maybe for myself, but
I think I agree in less of a negative. Like, I feel like I wear my heart on my sleeve and I sometimes love really hard and expect others to love me in the same way, but we don't all speak the same love language. We don't all react to people in the same way. And so it is kind of almost just managing your expectations and not in a way where people are going to let you down. Cause I think that's where she comes from.
Yes.
Is I'm just going to expect everyone to let me down and then I'll never be disappointed. Whereas I feel like I just need to not expect people to be way up here at this point where I feel like we should all be because not everybody's there in that same place.
right.
So, but I agree.
Yeah. I think it's a way to, maybe just for me, that it keeps me happy-go-lucky all the time.
Yeah. You're like, I don't care what anyone does.
Yeah, you do what you do. I'm going to be me and I'm going to be happy about it.
I think I try to outwardly not have expectations, but I still
Yeah.
hold expectations internally. And then I don't put my disappointment out there, but I am internally disappointed at people.
I've been there too.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
think you're really good at not masking your emotions, because I don't know if that's the right way to say it, but you're good at keeping
Managing them?
Yeah, managing them. Because I feel like Sunny and I are pretty much much the same in that we wear our hearts on our sleeves. So when I'm disappointed, you know I'm disappointed.
I'm not crying because I'm sad, okay?
Yes. And I don't know, my older age, I try really hard not to cry.
Yeah.
I don't know
I cry
why.
more.
Do
I
you?
cry more now in this old ass age than I ever did.
And I'm the opposite. I think I cry less.
I've cried more in all of these goddamn books that we've read. And I can't remember. I'm like crying reading them.
I can't remember the last book I read that I cried. No, I do remember. It was a long time ago, but I do remember. It has been a while.
There have been several books this year that tears have.
This book made me cry. It is
Oh
not
yeah,
even
the ending.
sad.
The ending made me cry.
Stop it, you two.
I make a couple points where I'm like, I'm so mad I'm crying right now.
Oh, so no, I cried out of happiness at the end.
Oh, okay.
I was happy for
No,
you.
there's a couple.
It was a good story, but I didn't cry.
For sure. I'm crying.
I'm
all
telling you, I
throughout.
So
cried
you're
much
not-
less.
Okay.
Okay, going back to Chumpies. My bad, we got sidetracked.
So really, they're doing the kayak thing, but immediately after the kayak, there is a sentence, and I need to talk to you guys about it because I even wrote like, I've read this sentence 5 times and I cannot figure out what the heck it means.
Okay,
She
wait,
says,
let's hear it.
Julia and Miles pile out of the back seat of Ashley's hatchback into the grassy field cum parking lot.
Yes, I remember that sentence.
What is a grassy field cum parking lot? I wrote.
I might have blazed right the hell over.
I was like, what does that mean?
I do remember that
I
sentence.
say, what? I've read this 5 times. I cannot figure out what it means. Is the parking lot grass and filled with cum?
Say it again. Say the sentence. It's a grassy.
A grassy field dash cum dash parking lot. What is a grassy field
A
cum?
field cum parking refers to a space that serves a dual purpose, usually a grassy or an open area. The term cum in this context combined with or together with signifying that the field has 2 functions. Oh.
Learn
Why
something new
wouldn't
every
it be
day.
spelled with like C-O-M-E or even just C-O-M, field cum?
Because you dirty bird. That's what it means.
I read it so many times. I was like, are they telling us that the parking lot is filled with cum and grass? I don't understand.
So I didn't think too much about it. I think I just thought, like, is she making a funny reference? Like, is this a parking lot that, like,
People have
kids
sex
go?
in?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. It's so funny.
This
I was
is
like,
like,
why is
lovers-
this relevant to the story? It's a barn.
Yes.
Bar.
It's her next.
Yes.
My next Chumpy.
Yeah.
No, my next bullet, but no, I think I do remember the sentence and just went right past it because I couldn't figure it out. And I was like, whatever,
Yeah, I
they're in a
think-
grassy field.
Because she makes so many little smart ass quips. I
Yes.
just assumed it was one of them.
Yeah.
But I'm glad we found out what it is. It's a dual purpose area.
Dual purpose grass.
Yeah. All right.
Grassy
Field.
Typically
field.
grassy.
Cum.
Lovers. It wasn't Lover's Lane.
No.
We left off with them in a field cum parking lot.
Yes. At
And
barn.
At barn. It's B-A-R, capital B-A-R, lowercase n. Barn. There's tension between Miles and Daphne. Daphne confesses about her hookup to Ashley, and Ashley shares why she got a divorce. They are officially friends. They finally decide that they know enough about each other. They've opened up enough to each other
Yes.
that they are now friends.
I thought her divorce story was sad. Like, I understood it, but she basically got shunned from all of their friends.
Ashley?
Yeah, because she just decided, it's not that I don't love you. It's just you don't want more.
Yeah.
And I want my life to be more.
Which another relatable topic that I think the author really did well at putting these relatable nuggets into the book. Most people could really find something in their soul that
yes.
resonates with it.
Yeah.
But I do feel that we are all lucky in the fact that our significant others, like even doing this, like this takes away from family time. This takes away from not a whole lot, but it's our own personal time.
Yeah.
And we have supportive families that allow us to
Yeah.
want to grow and do more things with our lives.
Yes.
I do love that. They're at barn. They become friends. Miles cancels their plans for Sunday, but says he has tickets for something on Saturday and wants Daphne to come with. She declines, but as she's looking on her socials, she sees her former friend Sadie with Petra.
Yeah.
I could not
Boo.
remember this chick's name.
Me either when we
Yeah.
were first talking about her. Yeah.
She realizes that her friend wasn't a true friend, so she texts Miles that she is in for Saturday because initially she didn't want to go. I don't know if she had work or she
No,
just
I think it
didn't
had to
wanna
do
go.
with just them not wanting to move forward. She was like, I'm just going to say no. Like, I don't want to put myself in that position.
Mm-hmm.
I think too she had the inner monologue of, oh, he's canceling. That's right, we're not together. I am
Yeah.
not important.
I make a comment, I think, at that point. I wish I could hear his thoughts, like his side of the
Right.
story sometimes,
Yes.
because I can't believe that narrative is actually true. I don't think it is. But also, that's life, right? You have no idea what that other person is thinking. So she did a good job of, making me feel the way I would feel in my own skin
Yes.
about all of this.
I feel like going back not being single, I think if for some weird reason I ended up single, I probably wouldn't date at all
Oh God, me neither.
Yeah.
for a very long time. And then
Yeah.
if I did, I feel like I would be super vocal about stuff like that because I don't want to guess.
I don't have time to be messing around.
Right.
I think I told my husband when we were first starting to date, I feel like it was only a couple months in. And I told him, like, look, I know what I want. And if you don't want it, let's be done. Because maybe you don't know that you want it with me yet, but I don't want to try and figure this out with someone who doesn't even want what I'm looking for.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I couldn't just sit on my hands and go, okay, let's see how this plays out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I'm moving on.
I feel like I knew what I wanted, but I was so young that I didn't know how to vocalize it
Yes.
at
Yeah.
that time,
Yeah.
Sadie is that friend that she had prior, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
Before ever meeting Peter.
they were the dual relationship, like the couple of friends that they hung out all the time.
Yes.
And Sadie's the one that chose Petra and Peter over. No, who
She
chose
technically-
Peter over.
She technically, I don't
Daphne.
think, and you kind of see this as she goes, is like maybe she didn't choose Peter. It was just easier. Actually, I think she talks about it when she finds out about why Ashley got divorced and everything. It's like, oh, she didn't just not choose me. She fell into what was easier, which was, I don't want to make you feel bad for me still being in a couple kind of a
Yes.
feeling with your ex's best friend.
I
Agree with
feel
it.
like if for some reason, like we met differently, we met because our husbands were friends first. But if we became such good friends, I would tell my significant, like, I'm not comfortable going out and hanging out with the bitch that he just left my friend for.
Yeah.
Abso-fucking-no.
Yeah.
Like, I'm
I
not
don't
okay with
agree
that.
with how this all ended, and I'm not okay. Yeah. it's-
Relationships are so complicated.
Yeah.
They are.
They are.
Okay, so then Ashley takes Daphne to a poker night with Michigan locals. Harvey, Bob, Lenore. Isn't one of them the person from the library, Harvey?
Harvey. He's
Yes, he's the
boss.
manager. He's like
yeah.
the boss. Yeah.
And she finds out that they've all known each other for years.
But Barb and Leonore are the
The farmers market people.
yeah, they're
Asparagus.
the asparagus
The
ladies.
asparagus.
Yes.
And they play poker and they have a good time. I don't remember if Daphne wins or loses.
She loses her ass in that first night.
but they talk about it.
Yes.
So then Saturday night, Miles takes Daphne to senior prom.
I thought this idea was so freaking cute. And I want to get dressed up and go to a prom.
I love it. Me too.
I want to
Me
go to a
too.
senior prom. I'm a senior.
You're not.
I'm damn near. My innards are
You're
senior.
middle-aged.
Anyways, they go to prom and they find out that Peter and Petra are there.
Fuck them.
They contemplate leaving, but they decide to stay.
And Miles mentions that he bought the tickets with Petra. So he didn't anticipate her coming.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like she did possibly know, right? She being a
Who,
bitch.
Petra was possibly known?
because again,
They
they
knew.
follow her on social media.
Yes.
They saw, and then her friend, who's the bartender at the winery, they're like, hey, they're dating, and Peter knows because he ran into them. I think she did this as a bitch move,
She would
They
have
showed
had
up
to
on
buy
purpose.
more tickets.
or had because she is also
Or they each took a ticket.
No, because Miles bought both tickets.
He did.
And I hated that Peter kept talking shit to Miles. Oh, he's a lowlife. He doesn't have this. He doesn't do that. But Petra lived with him. Petra doesn't have a job. She smokes weed all the time. She is a quote unquote free spirit loafer.
Yes.
I did think, though, that it was cute that Miles saw this opportunity for Daphne to get sponsors for her readathon.
Yes.
And then helped
Helped her
I
get
love that.
sponsors.
Yes.
What was the
I
prom
loved it.
for?
Seniors.
It was, yeah.
The senior
it was
citizens.
senior citizens of the town. It was like a cute little small town
A
thing.
senior.
Yes, it was a senior
Seniors.
home.
Yes.
Yes.
Senior home.
I thought it was really cute. And they were just kind of walking around getting sponsors for the readathon. And she got a lot from
Yeah.
this moment. Really put her out there.
Yeah, and
was
she
perfect.
was even
It's what she
telling him,
needed.
I've been emailing them for months.
Yes.
Nobody's responded. And he was just, sometimes you need to put a face to the name. Like, you need to be personable here.
So then Miles waltzes Daphne to the dance floor and passionately kisses her. Daphne's so caught up in her feelings that she runs away.
He's trying to prove a point. He's like,
Oh,
let's go to the dance floor and
because-
watch. He's gonna stare at you. He's gonna watch you.
yes.
Peter's gonna
Because-
watch you the whole time because you're gorgeous and you're amazing. And
Because they came up to her and Peter and Petra made a shitty comment. Oh, you're just so buttoned up like a librarian.
yes,
You're just so plain.
yes.
And he was, I think librarians are hot.
yeah,
I mean, they can be.
yeah.
He thought she was.
And she made a comment. I think roommates are hot. Let's go on the dance floor. Dun, 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 dun.
Well, then they kiss, and she gets really caught up, and gets nervous about it and
Because
she kinda
she's
flies
feeling-
away. Yes,
Away about him and
she
thinks
can't.
that he's just doing this to.
to make Petra jealous.
Yes.
Yeah.
She doesn't want
Oh.
it to be a show anymore. She
Yeah.
has feelings.
Yes.
So then she's running away. Miles chases her. He catches up to her and he tells her he agrees to take her home. He pushes her to tell him what is wrong, and she finally admits that she's confused by the relationship, and Miles confesses he always wants to kiss her. He finally starts telling her that he really does have these emotions for her. Miles also explains his rough childhood with a narcissistic mother. He left when Julia was still little and feels like he abandoned her. He blames himself for her trauma. Daphne realizes that Miles needs a good friend, so she doesn't want to push for a romantic relationship. She realizes at that point, maybe they should be friends because they both have this inner trauma that they're kind of working through. A relationship is only going to complicate it.
Right. She
Their
says
story.
something, he needs me to be his friend.
Mm-hmm.
Because he doesn't really have friends either.
No.
Like, they're both in that same boat. He's friendly to everyone, but they're best friends now.
Yes, and I can relate in the sense that somewhat because I have you guys as friends, but I could see how when you have a relationship, you get so caught up into that relationship, you lose some of your friends and some of your
Yeah.
connections in the process. So I could see how Miles would have no friends. He was so wrapped up in Petra, and Daphne has no friends because her whole life was Peter. They kind of come together in this portion of their lives where they need a friend because they lost everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's really sweet and
They're
kinda
trauma bonding.
Yeah, trauma bonding.
Yes, very much so.
Yes. Although I will say I'm so grateful I have friends that I've had even throughout my relationship.
It's true. I
Look at
agree.
all of us. We've all been with our partners for so long that
But we were
But we've
friends
all been with
first.
each other before that.
yeah. And that concludes Chumpy number 3.
Now we're going into Chumpy number 4, chapters 20 through 30. Pow, 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 pow. They have this whole discussion. Daphne starts to fall into a rhythm with Julia and Miles and Ashley. She's still looking for a job, potentially close to her mom, I think is like ideal.
She'd
And
been looking for a job like the whole time.
the whole time, which is she's looking for a job. She plans on leaving as soon as this readathon is over. So she finds a job. It's for a librarian that is near her mom, which is exactly what she's been looking for. It's got great pay, and she submits her resume.
I will say, at the start of chapter 20, though, this is the first time that the countdown changes.
Yes, 44 days until I could leave if I still want to.
Yes.
I had a note and said, yep, that's what I thought.
She's starting to really love this Michigan town.
Yes.
And Miles.
And
her friend.
Miles.
Like the life that
She's
she is
creating
building.
people who she enjoys.
She
and-
has things to do and people to hang out with. Whereas
Yes.
before, she was just going to work and going straight back to the house, to
Right.
the apartment.
and trying to force his friends to be her friends and be someone who she wasn't really in order for them to like her.
Yeah, I think at one point she talks about having to work out because Peter works out.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. She didn't eat a lot of junk food because Peter was all green juice and chicken breasts and, like, you know what I mean? Just like super
Miles
healthy.
makes fun of her like, oh, do you want some wheatgrass or something like that?
Yeah.
Yes.
I didn't put it in here, but he does note he gets turned on with every time he's like introducing her to these new foods that are a little
Oh,
more tasty.
yes.
She moans.
Yes.
And he's like,
He's like, yeah, that's right.
love it when you make those noises for me.
Eat that asparagus, baby girl.
Yeah. Drink that chocolate shake.
And she doesn't even notice it.
She doesn't notice it, but he does.
Yes.
Put those jalapenos up in your mouth.
Jalapeno mouth. Yeah, so Julia's still at the apartment.
Yes.
She says she's only going to stay for one more week, but boxes of her things start to arrive. She announces she's moving to Waning Bay.
That's the name.
I knew it at some
Waning
point.
Bay. I'm looking it up right now.
Waning Bay, Michigan. Is it real? We'll come back and let you know. I'm going to keep going. So Daphne assures Miles she's okay with their living arrangement, and Ashley arrives to help Julia unpack. Julia opens the closet, and all of Daphne's wedding stuff spills out because she hasn't gotten rid of it. The girls start going through all of the items. Still has the dress. It's big and poofy and beautiful and wonderful. They start going through all the items. They've got most of the stuff all photographed. Julia's offering to help get it listed online to sell, whatever whatever she can. Ashley's deciding she's going to take whatever she can and donate it for her to different places.
Wasn't she going to store it at her house too?
Yes.
Anything that we couldn't sell, or until we sold it, she would store it at her house. Yes. And then they're like, just try it on one more time. We want to see you. I hate this next part.
Me too.
She eventually gets the.
She was struggling to put it on.
She's struggling to put it on, but she finally gets it on, and it's taken her some time, obviously, because she comes out of the bathroom dressed, but the girls left, and only Miles is there. She's embarrassed, and she's also stuck in the dress. She's like having a panic attack.
Where did the girls go? 'Cause
They had to go get milkshake supplies. I made it.
I feel like they were drunk at that point because he sees them like getting into an Uber or a taxi.
I don't care.
I know.
He says apparently they needed milkshake supplies. I wrote, not a good enough reason to leave your friend in the bathroom putting on a wedding dress she will probably need emotional support over.
And they don't tell her they're leaving?
No.
They just disappear?
She can hear some sort of commotion and them say something, but she doesn't know. So she's just continuing because she's trying to get this dress on. And then when she walks out, it's just Miles. If you two ever, I would be crying. I would be like, I have this
We
stupid
would
wedding
never.
dress.
I would
know.
have DoorDashed the supplies.
Yes. Like
Yes.
one of you, I'm gonna, hey, we need milkshake supplies. It's just right here. You wait for her to make sure someone's here when she comes out. I'm just gonna run and get them.
We probably would have waited. Like
just
I could
taken
just
you
see
with
like,
us.
to wait until you're done, or make you take the wedding dress to go get the supplies.
You're
That's
not
what I was
changing,
thinking.
bitch. Yes,
You're
we're
wearing
going.
that shit.
Yes,
Let's go.
Yes. See,
Yes.
we're fun friends.
Yeah.
And I'd be like, okay.
We would work through it at the grocery store.
And then everybody's congratulating you and you're crying, so we're going to be like, oh, this is a bad idea.
I don't think people would. If you saw someone in a wedding dress with just two girls around them, not dressed in formal gowns or anything, at a grocery store, I wouldn't say anything.
Yeah, I don't know if
I would be
say
like,
anything.
"That's an odd situation she's in."
I don't know what's going on over there, so I'm
And
just
if
gonna
she was
ignore it.
teary-eyed, I'd be like,
Wow.
"Oh,
Yeah,
She got jilted.
not touching that."
you're gonna be okay, dearie. That's what I feel like someone would walk up to her and say.
Somebody's gonna love you. You'll find the one eventually.
Oh my gosh.
I hope you hit him over the head with your bouquet like Carrie in Sex and the City.
Oh yeah,
Is it because
and
you're
threw
not
it.
a virgin?
Yeah. Is it because you're not a virgin?
You know, they don't want the cow when they could get the milk for free. Sorry.
Your dress
Oh my
shouldn't have been
gosh.
white, dearie.
You whore. Anyway.
She's stuck in the dress. Not only did she get in there and then her friends abandoned her, she's also stuck in the dress and can't get it off. And Miles tries to help her get it out of the dress after several attempts, and he requests chapstick. She's greasing the zipper with chapstick. As the dress falls off of her, Miles gives her a t-shirt to cover herself, and they almost kiss, but they pull away. So chapter 23, the countdown changes.
Oh yeah, now it's now a countdown until the readathon. It has nothing to do with leaving or
Yes.
getting away. It's now just a countdown to the readathon.
Yeah. She's walking to work more frequently. And on
Yeah.
her walk to work, she's found a coffee shop that she really likes. They know her order, which
Yes.
is cute. She's starting to feel more and more like this is home. But she starts eyeing this cottage that's for sale. It's totally out of her price range, but she just kind of loves it and starts to kind of imagine her life and what it would be like living in a place like that instead of the big mansion-y kind of house that
so cute to have a cottage.
I know. Okay, at poker night, Daphne convinces Ashley to do something for her birthday. So they agree to paint Ashley's bedroom. Like, let's just do something that you would want to do. And you told me that you've never painted the house and you want to. Let's put on some show and watch it and paint the wall. And Ashley's kind of excited about it. She's into the idea and she agrees. So later in the week, Daphne's father calls, but she doesn't answer. He texts her asking for her address and she confirms it. So he's called a couple times. She's not responding. She knows that he's just a flake or whatever. And maybe he remembers my birthday. So she's not really answering. She doesn't have the energy to deal with him. And then he asks what your address is. And she doesn't respond. And then she's like, oh, I think she does end up texting him. And he just says something like, oh, I wanted to send you something. So then when she arrives at home after walking home that day, her dad and a woman are already there waiting for her. I love this woman.
I could not stand this
I
woman.
love her. Daphne's dad, Jason, is visiting with his new wife, Starfire.
She reminds me of a little hippie.
She was wild because she's telling them the story of Titanic and how she had this past life. And she was on Titanic and she starts like telling him the exact same story as Titanic. And Daphne says, so just like the movie, and Starfire's head cocks to one side. What movie? I loved her.
I felt the same way Daphne did. I was, what in the actual fuck?
I think I did too, but I think that's why I loved her. Because I was like, what is this woman? Yes, I'm so interested. So anyway, she's obviously a little out there, but her dad is in love with her.
He's like, this is my new wife, your stepmom.
Yes.
Enjoy Starfire.
She's like, you can call me mom.
And she's like, I won't.
She's like,
Starfire.
Starfire's okay. But Daphne is surprised that she's not decades younger than him. And Miles serves wine and helps Daphne navigate the awkward conversations all throughout the night. She's assuming, I think, that he's going to stay there. Jason asks if they can spend time together during the weekend. And Daphne's surprised that her dad already booked a motel for the night. So he doesn't actually need to stay there, but she's just expecting the worst of him.
Right.
I think they were trying to figure out where he was going to sleep.
Yeah, because we got Julia
yeah,
on the couch.
she was like, I don't have space for you.
Yes. You can't just show up, right? So, but no, he already booked a motel. He doesn't need it. Miles asks if they have swimsuits and they drive to borrow a friend's pontoon boat that was the Sunday.
That's their Sunday
That's their Sunday
extravagant.
activity.
Yeah, they included the Julia and
Everyone,
the dad
yeah.
and Starfire in
Yes.
their boat ride.
Which I thought was cute. And the whole time, Dad's on his best behavior.
Yeah, they have a great day. I think.
Yes. They
Even
have
the dinner, she's like stressing out, counting. My dad's going to flake. He's not going to have money. I need to be able to pay for everybody else's food.
He's ordering all these appetizers and nobody's asking for him. And now he's going to expect us to pay for him. But he doesn't.
He covers the whole bill.
He covers the whole bill. Yeah, surprisingly, her
Go,
dad
Dad.
pays for dinner. Yeah, and they watch fireworks. Miles holds her while they watch them.
He's doing a lot of sweet coupley things the whole time.
I made a note for two people who don't want to be in a relationship together. They sure do touch each other a lot.
Yes.
So we know that Julia potentially has something she's hiding.
Yes.
And Miles can't get it out of her.
Oh, yeah.
And I think, did she already tell Daphne at this point? She like alluded to some of it? No? Oh, she's already had the conversation with Miles about it in the car after the senior prom.
Right. Like Miles, because Miles unloads his early childhood and how he feels guilty. And she's like, you need to tell Julia that. Like,
Oh,
you
yeah.
need to share that with her.
Yeah.
Because Julia's been like, oh, Miles used to come and save me on the weekends. Like, she thinks something completely different of her brother. And in his head, he left her.
Which is why he would go visit her on the weekends, because he was trying to make up for the fact that he left.
Right.
Yes. Now Jason, her dad, starts telling these stories about when she was a little girl. And she's remembering them so differently, which I felt like was almost exactly like, take your own advice. You're like, Miles, talk to your sister about it. I'm sure she doesn't see it the same way, because when I talk to her, she thinks you are her superhero. And now she's hearing her dad tell the side of his story about their childhood. And it's totally different than what she experienced.
It's interesting how they have this like parallel
Yeah.
in this part of the story. They're trauma bonding the whole time, but now these two characters come into their lives that they have this backstory with.
Right.
And they're trying to navigate it at the same time.
Right.
Yeah.
They both had very tumultuous even though she doesn't remember her childhood being
Yeah.
that way, she does have a lot of issues from her childhood.
Yeah. She doesn't trust anybody.
But remembering something different than somebody else is so relatable.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because I
You
think
experienced it totally differently.
yes.
I had no idea that I hurt your feelings or that I said something that was offensive
Yes.
to you or did
Right.
something that you didn't like.
Yeah, to me, I was just moving about life.
Ashley ends up calling in sick at the library the next day. As Daphne preps for her story hour, Miles arrives to tell her that her dad and Starfire left, and she lashes out at Miles, so he leaves. She makes a comment, I think, in this part that I highlighted because it's just so heartbreaking. She says, life isn't a competition, and neither is love, but I'm still the loser. It's such a sad thing to feel, and I wonder why you don't trust anybody and have this narrative of you're not good enough if that's what you keep.
You have this negative outlook on
Yeah.
things. I feel like the negativity follows you.
Yes.
Or at least you perceive it to, right? Because you're being so negative about everything all the time.
Yes. Her dad leaves, even though he was supposed to be doing something that night with them. He ends up leaving and she lashes out at Miles. And so he leaves. And later that night at the apartment, Miles is having a tense call in his room. She asks Miles to take her somewhere new. So Miles takes her to a secluded beach, which they had talked about at the last time this was the second best beach in the area. And she was like, well, what's the first? He's like, I can't tell you that.
Yeah.
And so he ends up taking her to the first best beach. And they strip and hold each other in the water. They return to the apartment and can't keep their hands off each other. They were just naked in the water together. And they have
I'm surprised they made it back to the apartment.
right?
That's
I would
true.
have done
The
it right
sex
there in the
would have
water.
happened in the water.
That's some restraint they had.
At that point, you've waited
I
long
mean,
enough.
we're naked. We're in the water.
Yeah, all the
holding
parts
each
are
other.
there.
I'm holding you.
I can feel you between my legs
It's
already.
centimeters away.
Not inches, centimeters.
Centimeters.
The millimeters
Yes,
are tense.
exactly. So then they do end up getting back to the apartment. They have sex. This is where, okay, she writes, his pulse in so many different places as he bends to sweep a kiss along my trapezius. I wrote, seriously? Why, Emily? Can't you just say like a normal word? I'm not like, he grabbed my gluteus.
It's your neck muscle right
Yeah,
here.
it's
Yeah.
right here.
Your traps.
I know my traps, but what I'm saying that when I go to the gym.
How else would you describe this? The
The nape of your neck.
oh, okay.
Yeah, like a
I get that.
normal.
The space
I don't know,
between my neck
sexy
and
place.
my shoulder.
It's just like
But
such
she doesn't
a,
talk that way. Her nips were meerkats. Like
Yeah,
she's
that's
not
true.
like it's
She
very
said my
on.
nipples were meerkats, not my areolas. were-
My areola stood at attention, like a NASA aircraft bounding to the moon.
exactly. I was like, why? Why are you? Why
I don't know.
are
It
you
felt very
using these
on
words in
brand
the-
for Daphne.
I felt like it stuck out like a sore thumb. I was like, no.
Maybe she just read a biology book in her as she was peeking through her books at the library.
I think Emily needs to adopt the NASA spaceship bounding to the moon for her next book.
Yeah.
I feel like she could use that for several analogies. Maybe
yeah,
the
him,
grassy
too.
cum-felt parking lot.
Okay, so they end up having sex in the kitchen.
It's like chaotic, I feel like.
Yeah.
It's grappling. It's all that built up tension.
Sweaty and
Finally.
Rolling around
It
on the
probably
tile.
lasted 1.5 minutes.
And it was probably very uncomfortable.
Yeah.
A flat tile.
On the counter, right? It was
Oh,
on
it
the
she
was
was
counter.
bent over the counter and it was like digging
Oh.
into her hips.
Yeah. They talk and Miles tells Rox is all red.
It's just hot in here.
Oh, okay.
They talk and Miles tells her that when she doesn't allow him to see all of her, he feels upset. He explains that what he likes most about Daphne is that she sees everything about him, wounds and all, and still wants to be with him.
I feel like they do that to each other.
Yes.
They enjoy each other even with their flaws.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, totally. So Monday, Daphne realizes she was supposed to spend Saturday night with Ashley for her birthday. Ashley's super upset. So that's why she called out of the library sick. She wasn't actually sick.
She was just celebrating her birthday.
She
She
was-
was like actually excited about spending
Yes.
this with a friend.
But
And
Daphne,
Daphne
forgot
forgot.
because she was all upset about her dad leaving.
Yes.
And then got all wrapped up into Miles and slept
And
with
didn't-
him.
Yes. He was taking her to the beach to like console her because her dad was gone. They were together to
Yes.
forget about that moment. And she left her friend for some dick.
Yeah. She didn't even think about it, right? It's not like she chose him over her,
No.
but in
Her
the
mind-
end, that's what Ashley's saying is you
Yeah.
decided to stay with your friend or stay with your man, your crush, instead of actually spending my birthday with me like you told me you would.
Her mind was preoccupied.
She
Shit
doesn't
happened.
know that, but
I feel like justified is what she did. I feel like what she did is justified. I don't know why I said it like Yoda.
Justified, yes, she was.
I feel like she was justified and I understand where it was
Yes.
coming from, but also I exactly how Daphne reacted. She should feel bad. She should feel guilty. She
Yes.
knows she messed up and I need to make up for it.
Yeah, I understand both sides.
So Ashley is super upset, obviously, and barely speaks to her. Miles is supposed to pick up Daphne from work, and after waiting for hours, she finally calls him because she's like, oh, he's usually late. It's okay.
This part
She's-
was so sad.
Yes.
Heartbreaking.
Yes.
She
She's so
realizes he's not coming and she ends up calling him and texting him. Eventually, Miles finally responds and apologizes that something came up and he won't be making it. Right after the job Daphne applied for, out of state calls to schedule an interview with her.
It's the perfect storm of events. We're going through the story. Everything is so beautiful and lighthearted and funny, and it's so sweet, and everything is just kind of falling into place. And then crash and burn all in the matter of 5 chapters.
Yes.
Right. And then we jump to the last chapters, 31 through 38. Daphne she's trying to rack her brain and figure out how to fix this relationship with Ashley. She's thinking about it and she's like, this is really something I want to salvage. Can't just move away and forget her.
And Ashley makes a comment that she is a couple person or something like that. She calls her something.
Oh, that was like back earlier when they first got together. Like you're friendly with people when you're alone and then you become a couple. You would lose your identity.
Oh, it's what she tells her when she's mad at her.
But then she goes back to that. So she tells her that early, and Daphne's like, I don't know. And then it comes back to that, like, see, I told you. Mm-hmm. You become a couple and you completely forget everything else around you, which destroys Daphne. It totally breaks her heart.
Yes. So she's remembering conversations with Ashley. And part of the thing that broke up her marriage is she would want to go and just have these crazy ideas. Let's go to Portugal. Mm-hmm. And her husband's response was always, we can't just go to Portugal. He would just shit on her dreams.
And so which is one of the reasons why they were going to paint this wall a crazy color in her bedroom, because let's paint this crazy color.
Yeah. He hates pink. Like I never was able to have spontaneous things.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. She finds a Portuguese pastry shop and it's like an hour or something away. And so she gets up super early, drives and go gets the pastries and brings them back. She doesn't actually like, I got these for you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
She's just, I brought these. They're Portuguese pastries.
Very passively trying to extend an olive branch.
Yes.
She's, all of us chipped in for it. And she's like, Ashley's like, oh, yeah, okay, all of you chipped in for these for me. Thanks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Before she leaves for work, Miles isn't there. When she gets back from work, he's not there again. He still hasn't come home. She ignores calls from her dad, and then the doorbell rings. And she's thinking, oh, yeah, it's the food I ordered.
Yeah.
Cool beans. Let me go get it. And then Peter's there.
Yeah, that's what I was like, oh.
Fucking Peter. So he's there because he and Petra broke up. Surprise, surprise. He apologizes and wants to restart their life together. And Peter tells her that Miles came to help Petra move her things. And he says it like such a dick. Oh, you didn't know? But he tells, Miles came to help Petra move her things and they're back together. And Daphne realizes, even if I'm not with Miles, I don't want to be with you. The life that we had, I don't want it. Mm-hmm. I don't want nothing to do with it. She doesn't want to shrink herself to fit in with Peter, and she'd rather be alone than be with him.
She finally stands up for herself.
Yes, good for her. She's realizing that she's more than just somebody's wife or somebody's girlfriend. Mm-hmm. Then Miles brings his ass back home, and Daphne is avoiding him, and she just goes to work like, fuck this guy. Ashley's still upset, and she walks to work again. She's so in her own thoughts that she doesn't look at the weather, like she doesn't do anything. She just heads to work, and then it starts pouring rain. And so she's walking home in the rain, and Miles pulls up in a Jeep, which is Petra's fucking Jeep.
So she doesn't know that, though. Not yet. Does she? She just knows that he shows up in a car that's not his.
Well, she already knows that he was with Petra.
Yeah.
Because of Peter. Peter tells her, as soon as we broke up,
he was over there.
Miles was over there helping her move her stuff out.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So he pulls up to drive her home, and so she begrudgingly gets in the car, and he's apologizing, and what pissed me off here is he doesn't outright say what happens. He just says, I had to go help a friend. And she knows. She's like, oh yeah, what fucking friend was that?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But if they're not dating, she can't be mad.
I mean, she can be.
I think
she's allowed to be
but
mad.
I think what makes it upsetting is that they just slept together.
Yes.
So they had this, like, we're going to be friends, but then they just slept together.
Moved the relationship.
He disappeared for a few nights, almost like he freaked out because they slept together. Peter says you went to go save her. So I know where you went. We both know Petra. If he went to go help somebody that she didn't know, yeah, I helped a friend. But the fact that he's avoiding saying who he helped after they just banged it out, no, absolutely not. She's rightfully furious, and she just basically tells him, like, you're off the hook. I don't care. Go do what you want. You don't owe me anything. And he starts crying.
I know.
And he's begging her to put him back on the hook. Like, give me responsibility. I love you.
Yeah, he finally tells her, I love you.
Yeah, and she's extra pissed because that was the wrong place to say that.
Yes.
You can't just tie me here and all of a sudden tell me you love me. That's not an apology.
And he didn't really say it. It was, he says, I freaked out, Daphne, but that doesn't mean I don't love you. My comment to it was, the scream face. Also, because it is kind of jarring to hear that for the first time. And also, this isn't fair to me.
Yeah, this is not how you get to tell me that.
Yeah.
It's on your terms, and it's not a nice space.
Yeah.
And she doesn't
Like
reciprocate.
it's like a Hail Mary. Well, she does, but it's...
Later, doesn't she? I don't think she says I love
She
you
doesn't
too.
say it
She
back.
does
She
not
gets mad.
know. She's mad.
Mm-hmm.
So she tells him, okay, well, I applied to a job out of state, so you're going to have your life and I'm out. So she jumps out of the Jeep and she calls her mom because she's been avoiding telling her mom all of the things that are happening in her life. And so she finally just unburdens herself. And her mom starts apologizing for her childhood, was saying sometimes you have to push through discomfort instead of running. I never taught you this. We always ran,
Yeah.
but there is some goodness that comes from sticking it out.
What a good life lesson.
Yeah. Daphne she gets home and she mulls that over. She's right. I need to fix this thing with Ashley. So she calls Harvey and she's telling him, you need to host an impromptu poker night. She's coming up with this big grand gesture.
Yeah.
Then Ashley shows up at work and she brought Daphne a chai tea latte. She goes to the poker night and Daphne sneaks into her house and realizes she lives in a McMansion.
Yes.
She's like her rich best friend, which I'm hoping happens with one of you guys one day. Why didn't you tell me you're so rich?
Right?
I've just been waiting for you guys to finally drop the ball and tell me about it.
She starts prepping to paint her bedroom, and Ashley knew something was fishy. Harvey, she's been playing poker with these people for years.
Like on the same night every week.
Yeah.
Like, this isn't something that happens. So she came home. She was like, forget this. Came home early, and she caught her red-handed getting ready to paint her, like partially painting her bedroom. And they hash it all out, and they save their friendship.
Which I have a comment. It doesn't bother me, but I'm disappointed that she felt so strongly to face everything head on with Ashley, but not with Miles. I'm mildly disappointed that Miles hasn't hunted her down either.
It's a little more of an uncomfortable confrontation.
Yes, I agree. But I also feel like she just had Peter come back and she realizes I'd rather be alone. So she's not really worried about making a romantic relationship. She's trying to save a real friendship that she made. So I kind of get it.
Outside of being a couple.
Yes.
I agree, but I also feel like she had a friend in Miles too.
Yes.
She wished she want more, yes, but
Right.
yeah, I don't know.
That's true. The banging it out had something to do
Yeah,
with
for
it.
sure. It complicated
Changed
things a little bit.
But she tells Ashley about her sex with Miles, about Peter and Petra breaking up, tells her about her job interview. Ashley invites her to move in with her and her son.
Not
And
like
just
she
until the readathon. You're going to move away after. You got this great job. I'm sad to see you go, but it's going to be great for you. Come and live with us. We have space in my McMansion.
Yes.
She's living there. She's not dealing with Miles. And then the day of the readathon is turning in disaster. Disaster strikes in the form of a virus. Like, people are getting sick. They're not volunteers. Are all ill and they're not showing up. And Daphne just steps in and we will handle it. I will figure it out. Go be the host, be the person you need to be. And I will figure out people to fill the gaps. She gets a phone call. She steps outside to answer her dad's phone call. And he wanted to wish her luck with the readathon. And he's apologizing for leaving so quickly. Daphne's kind of taken aback. He's never remembered any facts about her life. And I don't even think he says it's the readathon. He's like, you got a book thing tonight, right?
Yeah.
But then he mentions that he's like, that guy drove all the way up here and embarrassed us. He starts talking shit about Miles. I told him my daughter doesn't care that I left. She's cool. We've been doing this our whole lives. And she's realizing that Miles wasn't with Petra that whole time. So she hangs up with her dad. She hangs up, but then no, I need to tell him.
Yes.
And so she calls him back and she says, you're a terrible fucking father. You were horrible. And Miles went to go talk to you to salvage her happiness because he cares about her happiness. And then she lets it all out and then she just hangs up on him before he can respond.
Yeah.
So then she goes back inside and she's, okay, woosah, it's readathon time. So the library's filling with patrons and Daphne gives a big speech about how she's so excited for everybody to be here, that she's so happy that the community has come out to volunteer. And she's seen people. She's seen Barb. She's seen Lenore. There's another lady who is new-ish to the community and she's like a baker and she comes and brings little treats in the crowd. As she's giving her speech, she sees Julia and Miles. They're helping out too. They came and showed up for her.
Oh, and Katya is there too.
Oh yeah, Katya. And at the end, as the event winds down, Ashley's like, okay, this was successful. It was a great night.
It's pretty cool. Some of the people she has coming up, they're like building a dragon in the fantasy section.
Yeah.
And they've got the kids section that's, I don't know, it seemed
like a cool event.
I know. know. I would totally be into
It was
my
like
kid.
an all-night,
Yes.
24-hour.
Yes.
It was like a
read.
lock-in.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So she's telling her, go rest and go talk to Miles. You guys need to talk. Then she saunters up to Miles and she's like, do you want to go for a walk? She tells him, like, I know where you went. You went to see my dad. So he explains that Petra called him sobbing and I loved her. Like, I just went to go check on her.
Yeah.
While he was there, he realized, I don't want to be here. This is going to ruin my relationship with Daphne. Told Petra that he loved Daphne and he was, you can have my truck, move your shit out, I'll take your car. And then he went up to go confront her dad. Daphne shares that Peter came to win her back and Daphne says she loves him. She finally opens up and tells Miles she loves him. She finally says it. She plans to stay in town, but she wants to get her own place. She's like, okay, we're going to do this, but we're going to do this right. I'm not going to just absorb your life. I want my own life and I want you in it.
She finally realized that she could be her own person.
Yeah, and still have a relationship. So
Yes.
she's like, I'm moving out, getting my own place, and then we'll figure it out later. And he wants to support her and says she can stay with him until the rental unit's ready. The last chapter is 412 days since the day I stayed. So just over a year.
I love it.
And Daphne and Miles are prepping brownies for their housewarming party because they bought a cottage.
It's so cute. It's not the cottage.
No, it was another cottage, and it was like super run down. So that it's a fixer-upper.
Yeah, it's a fixer-upper cottage.
And she's reflecting on her new life that she has in Waning Bay over the last year. She repaired her relationship with Sadie. And she kind of talks about, because we kind of talk shit about Sadie, but she realized that it wasn't like Sadie wasn't picking Peter. She was picking her fiance.
Yeah, which is what, I mean, I think she had a realization about
Yeah.
that when she found out that, you know, about the Ashley's divorce. She wasn't saying, I don't want Daphne. She was saying, I want my future husband.
Yeah.
So, here's the name. The name of the
Yes.
person is Elda, and she's now a new poker member.
That's a
and
Baker girl, right?
Yes, and
Yeah.
she's dating Harvey now, and so they come to her housewarming, and she's again newer. She doesn't know all of them. And this part is super cute. She asks Miles and Daphne how she met, and Miles states funny story and then pauses because he knows Daphne loves telling their story.
It's so cute.
Super cute ending. I teared up at the end
I did too. Yeah, it was so cute.
It was a really cute ending.
because she had a story with somebody that she loves that she was happy to tell.
Yes.
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 I think it was really cute. She found herself. She found her independence. She made a life of her own, and that's really sweet because it's so easy to get wrapped up in all the other things.
Right, right.
Yeah.
But it doesn't last when you do that.
No, it doesn't.
You need to be substantial by
You have-
yourself.
yes, you have to have your independence. You have to be your own person.
I shouldn't say it doesn't ever last, but most of the time it's
Well, I think to
hard to
feel
get there,
like
right?
happy and fulfilled, you need to be your own
Yeah.
solid person
Yes.
and find another person to build a life with.
Like-
as two separate entities that merge together.
Yes, you have to
Yes.
remember that you were two separate entities before you became together, and it's this independent person that you fell in love with,
yeah.
Yeah.
right? And you start to change, and I don't know, I get it.
I think you find a way for the cogs to kind of just
Yes.
mesh.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's funny story. We have to review it.
Yes, let's rate it.
Rate it. So as a reminder, 1 shot, I'm not coming back for more. 2 shots, it's good enough for another, but not worth the hangover. And 3 shots, it got me up. That was good because I
Right?
forgot you were going to do that.
Yeah, got it. The one bleep we do.
That's right. Who wants to review it first?
Okay, I'll go first.
Okay.
I will give it 2 shots because it was a cute story. I was in it. I enjoyed it. I wanted to know how they were going to end up together because I knew they were going to end up together, but I wanted to know how. But I don't know if there needs to be another story after it.
I agree. 2-shotting it. I thought we said in the beginning, it was a cute little love story. It was a very easy read. I think I read it in like 2 or 3 days. It was a quick read, and it was a vacation read. Like it's just something light and fun.
Yes.
And we read a lot of darkness.
I was gonna
we
say.
read a lot of dark books that it's nice to have a little pop of sunlight.
Yeah.
every now and
It
then.
was.
I'm giving it 3 shots.
Ooh.
Wow. Okay, the first time that we've not all agreed on the
Right.
shots.
Yeah, and I'll tell you why.
Tell
Yeah, tell me.
Okay, I'm
I
gonna
wanna
tell you.
now.
I think I'm keeping in mind that it's a contemporary romance. And for that genre, I think it was really well written. Like you said, I blew through it. I didn't put it down. I enjoyed it. It was lighthearted, which I think is kind of what contemporary romances are, right? So if it was a different genre or if it was meant to be something different, I would agree with you. It's only two shot, but I think it was, I cannot wait to see the show or the movie. I think it's a movie. I don't think it's a show.
Yeah.
I can't wait to watch it. I think it was funny. I was literally laughing out loud at parts. I was crying at parts. I really enjoyed it. And it was a lighthearted read. It definitely wasn't like this deep,
No. It's not meant to be.
introspective. Yeah, yeah, exactly. So I think if it was trying to be, then maybe I wouldn't have given it 3 shots. But
Yeah.
I really, really enjoyed just this little pop of sunlight that we had in her.
I would like
in
to
her
read
list.
some of like Happy Place and some of her other books. I think
Yeah.
they would be fun to.
So I think
So
if
many
you're
things.
interested in contemporary romances and this is your genre, this is a great book.
Yeah.
I
It was
agree.
good.
It was a great book.
I liked it.
Yeah.
Yeah. For
Good
me,
job,
it's 2
Emily.
shots. Thanks.
Good job, Emily.
So if you go onto our socials, you can fill
Yeah.
out our discussion questions and be a part of the discussion next week.
Listed on our website. You can join the conversation there on the blog for
literatureontherocks.com.
literatureontherocks.com. Yeah.
We'll have our drink posted on our socials so you can enjoy.
Make the cocktail. Well, we will see you next week to hear your guys' part of this discussion. So answer the discussion questions so we can check them out.
Yes.
Possibly read them on this pod next week.
Yeah.
Woo.
Join the conversation.
Yes.
Your turn.
Yes. All right. Peace out.
Bye.
Bye.